welcome. Spec-5 World Tour is back at Mugello. This majestic track with a high-speed front straight, elevation change, swooping changes of direction, featured previously in other seasons, and it was a great track for MX5 racing. That's what Spec-5 World Tour is. Live here on HJBC, David Haynes with Reese Gardner and Michael Derby as we look forward to another 45-minute compulsory pit stop race at another exciting circuit race.
Oh, yes. And when we say exciting, I think that's just one of many words you can use to describe Mugello. It's a track that's been around since the mid-1970s or so, and used in particular as a test track for Ferrari at times. It's famous for its motorcycle racing, but it has hosted Formula One a couple of times, particularly during the pandemic, which was one of the most ridiculous races we've ever seen. These cars, I think, much better suited to this beautiful flowing course that rolls through the hills of Tuscany.
Yeah, absolutely. So 45-minute race, that compulsory pit stop, just over 3 miles, but 15 turns. And I think all of them are crammed into about the 1.5 miles on the backside of the racetrack, because it feels like it's an almost mile-long front straight. So with 32 at a minimum MX5s for our race, we go to qualifying. 15 minutes, 4 flying laps. And how they prepare the tyres is always a question. The track is relatively cool, which is usually kind to the tyres, but there are 15 high-speed turns, which is not kind to tyres.
No, certainly not. Mugello is the kind of circuit where there's basically no slow corners. There is a heavy braking zone at the end of the front straight into what is, I don't know, I guess proportionally a hairpin. But yeah, there's basically no corner here where you're having a cornering speed under 80, 90 kilometers an hour. There's a lot of mid-corner pace to carry in the MX-5's full stop, and I think this is the perfect circuit for them. It really is a good feeling when you flow a car nicely through these turns, as Brandon Hawken is doing on his outlap. Hawken being the championship leader in the pro class coming into this round. It is a long circuit though as well, 5.2 kilometers in length and change. Add another 40 meters or so to that. That means lap times are around about the 2 minute and 7, 2 minute and 8 second range for most of the drivers.
We have 2 classes of drivers in Spec-5 World Tour, Pro Class and Open Class. They are coloured red and blue. Brandon Hawken is leading the Pro Class Championship at this stage of the 15-round season. We begin round 10. It's getting towards crunch time, but you can see that Open Class, also with plenty of drivers, has been competitive as well. Mark Cheng out there on the circuit, Jason Stalker, Gareth Brocklesby, Paul Murgatroyd, lots of drivers to contend this open class that at the moment is led by Travis Hewitt. We're about to get some of our drivers beginning their first flying laps, so you start with this hairpin final corner that I am going to mangle the pronunciation on. Is it Bucine? How's that one go? 1C, so it's probably Bucine.
Let me get a track map up so I can see what you're talking about here. You're talking about the final corner, yes?
Yes.
Okay. I would say Bucine.
I'll back that one in, and our only Italian on the grid, Eugenio Pellicci, will be the driver to criticize us. But countries that have made the FIFA World Cup can pronounce things how they want.
Yes, indeed. Eugenio Pellicci just had a spin on the lead up to his first hot lap as well. So not an ideal start to qualifying for the man who is going to have basically 2 home rounds on the schedule. Not only are we racing at Mugello this week, but next week we are going to be racing at Monza Combined, the full oval layout, which is going to be quite an interesting run indeed. The drivers will be getting some slipstreaming practice for that here at Mugello with its super long front straight.
Right, so we're getting towards some lap times that count here. Brandon Hawken, about 3/4 of the way around the lap, makes the turn back in that long right-hander. You've got a flat-out chicane here for cars like this, and you've just got to pick the right line through it, kind of like at Barber Motorsports Park. And then a really long final corner here as well. Opens up a little bit, but also drops down the hill. So where is the grip? How early do you get to throttle, and what shape do you make? Sometimes staying tight on the exit as the road opens up, sometimes really flowing around the outside, but then a long full throttle straight. You'll just be looking for 100% throttle and looking to maintain that to take you to the line. First time that comes in is actually from Mitchell Peak, and then Jared Collins eclipses that. Brandon Hawken taking that away. Jared Collins is up top at the moment, as more than 10 times are in and more are coming.
Yes, 15 drivers setting times now. Collins, Hawken, and Mike Oswalt, your top three. Travis Hewitt putting himself into the open class pole position for the moment. Provisionally, Peter Rousakis only 0.02 of a second behind him for the next position in open class. There is going to be a lot of competition in open class this round, I imagine, but we're still waiting on times from more than half of our field. Drivers that are finishing laps at the moment: Jack Stadola, who's just taken the provisional open class pole himself, good enough for 5th overall. That's impressive.
Yeah, he takes the line and then immediately parks up next to what I believe we decided was the Sevi Chilverado or something. Jared Collins remains up top, but only by 0.02 of a second. Michael Coates crosses the line, goes into 9th place.
Indeed, he does. Into the braking zone for San Donato, which is the name of the first corner here. We talk about food sometimes in these broadcasts, and one pasta sauce or pizza topping that I'm familiar with that has a bit of spice to it is arrabbiata. And well, the double left-hander in the middle of this lap that goes over the top of the hill, incidentally, also called arrabbiata, which I think really betrays how spicy a section of racetrack that's going to be. The speed that you have to carry through it. Same for a lot of these corners. Quite substantial and very little margin for error on the exit. Riding on board with Brandon Hawken across the line to set his second lap, needs to beat a 207.784, and he will conclusively. A 207.52 will be what our championship leader has, and he's still got 2 more laps left to run.
It's a track that's very difficult on left side tyres, and as he pitches into turn 1, I think they're about done on this lap for Brandon Hawken.
That was a sick drift. Unfortunately, it's not going to get him much in the way of lap time. He'll reset and try again. Actually, speaking of, what's the track temperature like? I need to double check that.
20 C.
Oh, yeah, 21 Celsius. That's not bad. But I guess with the amount of long high-load corners at this circuit, you're right, the tyres are being put through the ringer here. They are building up a lot of heat as more times come in. Paul Murgatroyd setting a 208.801 to put himself P13, and it would appear 3rd in the open class for the time being.
Plenty of runoff around here, as you can see. There's pit entry to the right after the final corner. So I get the feeling the pit delta is actually not insignificant here when it comes to the race. That's Mugello. Eugenio Pellicci jumps up into 2nd place. Made a journey a little bit south from his hometown in the Milan region to come to Mugello. but he has been richly rewarded with a good lap time, the beautiful surroundings, and maybe a little bit of a visit to taste some of the local delicacies that grow in the region.
Indeed, Tuscany is a lovely region of Italy with some incredible cuisine, and I would like to make my way to Europe one day. Italy's definitely somewhere that I'm going to go, not just for the racetracks, but also the delicacies that you describe. Mitchell Peak is 12th for the moment, but a 209.8 on that last lap, about 1.3 seconds slower than his previous best. Brian Jabelski sets a qualifying personal best, 209.0. Kyle Ginsky puts himself into 20th place, and Geordie Fike makes an improvement to P17. Lincoln Fox hasn't set a lap time yet, but this could be his first here. It looks like a bit of a slow start, only 24th for the moment.
Yes, is it a slow build, or is it indicative of a little mistake somewhere? Brandon Hawken has at least new left side tyres for what might well be his final attempt at a faster lap in qualifying. He loses a little bit of time in the middle sector, despite going quicker through the first sector.
It was quite a late turn in for the final corner as well. Let's see what this lap brings. Yeah, it looks like a slow lap here. This is going to be the start of Brandon Hawken's final campaign at improving on that 207.5.
So Polici stays second with Collins in third. Michael Coates sits fourth position. Oswald in fifth. Open class being held by Jack Stadola in seventh outright at the moment. Where's his competition, and how can any of them improve? Well, Peter Rasaukas is going okay. Brandon Hawken, track limits. Where exactly do they sit in that corner? I reckon probably an inch further to the right.
Yeah, I think he exceeded the track limits with that one, so we'll see no final lap time from Brandon Hawken there, but that 207.5 should stand pretty well, unless Polici can pull something out here. He's coming out once again and taking a super wide line through the final corner to try and ramp off the elevation change. We'll see what he can do from there, as Jabelski is going to come to the line as well.
Polici, very tiny improvement.
Oh, yeah. Very tiny. 207.683 that he currently sits on. Actually, it looks like that last lap of his didn't count.
Didn't count, yeah.
No.
Jabelski also no improvement there. Paul Murgatroyd might. Lee Martin might. Oh. Whoa. Watch out for the grass then, approaching the final corner, Paul.
Looks like this lap will not count then, with that little excursion into the turf. We haven't had lap times yet from Michael Chase, Thomas Fisher, or Michael Tanagretta, and it seems Michael Chase has not been out of the pits yet at all for the entire course of qualifying. We're expecting him to be fighting up the front, but apparently it's not going to happen for the moment.
13th place for Paul Murgatroyd. Did lose a tiny bit of time in the final sector, but first and second were good. Polici, 2 purples. Jared Collins from third place coming into the pit lane. And Eugenio Polici has pitted as well. This remains in second place. Michael Coates from fourth crosses the line. Again, very fractional improvements being found with just 2 minutes left in this qualifying.
Brian Jabelski has already done all 4 of his laps. Joshua Soto also has already done all 4 of his laps. So I'm thinking that the majority of our drivers have already set the times that will get them on the grid here. Odyssey Adams, at the moment, one of the drivers on their 4th and final lap. It is the same for Lincoln Fox as well. So those two are going to cross the line in pretty quick succession. Let's see what they can do. Adams running out across the curb there to widen the entry into the final corner. I love it when you get that turn right and you power out properly. You got just the right amount of rotation and you're carrying the momentum onto the start-finish straight. You just watch your delta get further and further into the green. Adams then to the line, and it's going to be a 2:08.2. That's going to grant him a couple of positions, and Lincoln Fox promotes himself up to 11th with a 2:08.4.
Yeah, we think that's probably the final lap for Fox. Michael Coates might have also used all of his laps. 1/10 down from improving in the first sector, then PB in the middle sector though.
Let's see then what more can be done for Michael Coates. It should be his final lap across the line here. Long run to the start-finish line here at Mugello. Is this going to be enough? A 2:07.825. That is an improvement, but not quite enough.
Yeah, just a matter of increments, and there's almost no one else around there that's going to be able to get to the checkered flag in time. Thomas Fisher, no times. 2 pit stops, no time. Interesting to see how qualifying went there. We also just had someone improve and set the time ahead of Fisher. Yeah, Michael Tannegretta jumping up to 27th.
Yes. Got his lap in just in time with a few seconds to go.
That locks in a grid of 33 MX-5s, 31 of them with the qualifying time. Brandon Hawken is on pole position. Eugenio Pellicci in second. Jared Collins third. And Michael Coates fourth. Joshua Soto with fifth. Mike Oswalt with sixth. And Jack Stodola with open class pole position in seventh. Got a handful of pro cars behind him in Odyssey Adams, Donnie Moffat, and Rui Coimbra.
In 11th spot, we've got Lincoln Fox. Sean Hayes of Australia will be starting alongside him on row number 6. Mitchell Peake and Paul Murgatroyd are your 7th row. Then it's Peter Rousakis and Mark Kruger on row number 8. And remember, those that's second, third, and fourth in open class right there. There's a big gap ahead to Jack Stodola. Travis Hewitt, Geordie Fike, Jason Stalker, and Lee Martin will round out your top 20.
And then Brian Jabelski with a couple laps that maybe didn't count in 21st. Carl Genski in 22nd. Drew Lidgear 23rd. Tom Athon 24th. Liam Park in 25th. Tim Collier with 26th. Michael Tannegretta in 27th. Jake DeGrand in 28th. With Mark Chang in 29th. Gareth Brocklesby in 30th. And the last driver that set a qualifying time seems like it's Gerard Brady in 31st, and Chase and Fisher, no qualifying times.
Yeah, and it looks like Fisher's taking to the grid, but Michael Chase isn't. So apparently some issues for car 371. Though we did set a time in practice, Michael Chase may not be starting this race. We're getting ready in just a few moments, though, for the drivers to pull away on what is going to be quite a long formation lap here at Mugello. At pace car speeds, I'm expecting this is going to take the better part of 3.5 minutes at least. But David, that is more than enough time for us to go through the points and standings coming into this round.
Yes, indeed. Brandon Hawken, after 9 races, leads the championship of 15 rounds. Brandon Hawken on 732 points there ahead of Joshua Soto and Michael Coates. Donnie Moffat with a great race in the wet at Interlagos jumps into 4th ahead of his teammate Eugenio Pellicci. Carl Genski, Odyssey Adams, Rui Coimbra, Mike Oswalt and Mitchell Peake is that top 10.
Meanwhile, in the open class, Travis Hewitt extending his lead over Jack Stadola and Lee Martin. Interlagos was another great race for quite a few of these drivers. Not so much for Jason Stalker, though. He had some pretty big problems at Interlagos and has fallen behind Murgatroyd to round out the top 5 in open. Mark Kruger in 6th ahead of Michael Tuck. Then it's Mark Cheng, Ryan Pendicio, and Paulo Coimbra to round out our top 10 in open. And, well, I think the Mr. Clean standings would have had a bit of a jiggle about, David, coming out of Interlagos. It seems Brian Jabelski is now leading the way there.
Yeah, Michael Tuck seems to have had this on lockdown for a little bit, but Brian Jabelski has moved ahead of him in Mr. Clean. Michael Tuck in 2nd there from Brandon Hawken. Yeah. Interesting to see the drivers that feature here and in their respective points. Coates, Oswalds, Lee Martin there in 5th. Jastadola, Mark Kruger, Geordie Fike and Joshua Soto as our top 10 for keeping it clean so far. But not only keeping it clean, but also attending and completing the races is the other section to that.
Yes, I believe if you miss a round, you get, what is it, 20 points or so added to your standings. So, yeah, turn up and drive cleanly and you will be successful in the Mr. Clean Championship. But regardless, we are coming up to just about the end of the formation lap. The little dogleg section of the circuit coming out of the exit of Arrabbiata there across the hill. You can't see the exit when you're coming through that final apex. I think there's going to be more than a few drivers who'll visit that gravel trap today.
You would almost guarantee it.
At least skimming it.
Yeah, behind the Porsche pace car that it is today. One formation lap for us. There we go. Oh, they got a nice bridge over the main straight to get you from that grandstand to the paddock.
Yeah, very nice. Mugello, quite the expansive venue. And from these blimp shots, you can really see the elevation change. The left-hander they were just coming through on the right side of screen, quite a bit higher than the run into the final corner. This track hugging the terrain really is a driver's circuit.
Yeah, almost like rice paddies set into the side of a mountain or something there. 3 sort of tiers, layers, steps as the track descends down to where the pit and paddock is. The pace car is going to pull in, and our front row is Brandon Hawken and Eugenio Pellicci. The green flag waves, the drivers will go, and 45 minutes will begin. 2 lovely rows down the front straight. There's the flag man there. And he gives the green flag. Hawken will have the inside for turn 1. Eugenio Pellicci on the front row leading the second group, but almost immediately Jared Collins looks like he gets a great start in behind Brandon Hawken. The right lane of racers get a good getaway. Cold tyres on a relatively cold track heading down towards turn 1. There's Lincoln Fox going around the outside trying to round them all up, but as he got in a little bit too deep, Hawken and Collins lead us out. Kruger gets a little bit of contact and he spins around.
Oh, yes, he does. That's not ideal for Mark Kruger. 15 spots down now as they're 2 by 2 by 2 behind Eugenio Pellicci, who holds on to 3rd place. Lincoln Fox was unable to get past him. Joshua Soto and Michael Coates right with him now. And our open class leader, Jack Stadola, is in the midst of all of that as well as there's a spin behind him. Looks like that's Rui Coimbra that's gone around.
It is, and the drivers dive both directions to try to avoid him. Involved in the contact with Kruger was Geordie Fike, and look at how much damage Brian Jabelski's got on his car there. Taking a look.
He had help.
Just got a tiny tap going into the corner there, and then Rosorkis makes a tiny bit of contact. Jabelski already going around with a heavily damaged car. Oh, well, going around is giving it a little bit too much credit.
Crawling around, I think. Better choice choice of language for that. We're going to see the replay of how that happened for him as the leaders came into turn one. They were 4 wide ahead briefly on their way into the first corner, but it would appear that Szybelski might have gotten a little bit of assistance as well. A spin in front of him. Yeah, that's the 90 of Mark Kruger, and unfortunately there wasn't much Szybelski could do there.
So Brandon Hawkins successfully converts pole position into the race lead. Jared Collins follows him down the inside at turn 1 as the right-hand lane was successful. Eugenio Pollicci in third, but Lincoln Fox got a great getaway going around the outside of everyone. Now we've got 3 wide further back for Jason Stalker meet in the sandwich as Fox and Soto go side by side with Michael Coates just behind them. Well, this is almost like a military parade type of thing. It does make me feel patriotic to be Italian.
Certainly. This is fantastic. Wide run into the first corner. Mugello, a very wide circuit, so you'll be getting racing like this almost every lap. Diving up the inside is Jason Stalker, but Sean Hayes gets him a little tap up the rear, and taking advantage of all of that there is Lee Martin as he's 3 wide still, with Sean Hayes and Kyle Genske coming into turns 2 and 3. Fantastic.
Well, the right and the left were closing in, and Kyle Genske almost got, shot out of the cannon with that. Managed to back out and preserve his car and stay ahead of Lee Martin. Michael Tannegretta dropping in behind them. He's gained 9 positions. Don't think Tannegretta got the qualifying he would have wanted, so he's displaying pace that suggests he might have been, should have been, in the top half of the field.
A shame, but that be how it do sometimes, as Kyle Genske will find his way up through Arrabbiata 1 and 2, continuing to chase Sean Hayes. Ever so slight contact at high speed, but doesn't look like any of these guys have gathered damage that will affect their pace. Genske is being quite liberal with those anti-cut curbs. You can hit them, and they don't unsettle the car too much. They're very subtle here at Mugello. But if you want to make a pass, I think you're going to have to do it in the slipstream down the start-finish straight, and maybe try a couple of over-unders in the S's.
That's where our race leaders are about to be. Things close up a little bit when we get that slipstream down the front straight, but they spread out a little bit through the corners. It's going all right for Brandon Hawkins, with Jared Collins in second, closely pursued by Pollicci. Soto and Coates got ahead of Lincoln Fox, kind of looking like a top 12-ish here. And I think Sean Hayes and Kyle Genske can't help themselves but go side by side back there. Diving down the inside into second place, Eugenio Pollicci.
Yes, you and I know, David, that at Bathurst, the Australians get an extra few tenths of a second. It would seem the Italians get a few extra tenths here at Mugello and potentially Monza next week. Pollicci, though, a little bit deep coming out of turn 3, and we'll see him briefly dip a wheel into the gravel. But this being a motorcycle circuit, wide, flat curbs, and quite a bit of paved surface beyond those curbs in many places, so if you make a mistake, it's reasonably easy to recover from.
Yeah, Eugenio Pollicci certainly enjoying this little run that we're going to have of Mugello into Monza. Thomas Fisher has towed to the pit lane. He was not one of the drivers damaged in the early goings. A little bit of anti-cut curb there, a little bit of anti-cut curb here, push a little bit wide, gravel, and he loses control.
Yeah, the gravel sending him into a slide, and I think he overcorrected it slightly, which is an easy thing to do. I've certainly done it many a time. It can be difficult to figure out exactly which way your car's weight transfer is going to sway. We're coming up to the end of lap 3 now, and Brandon Hawkins' lead has continued to extend ever so slightly. He's in the lead now by almost a second as we find our way through. to the final corner. Actually, potentially around about 0.6 or so. Excuse me, as they pass Thomas Fisher, who unfortunately has had to tow back to pit lane.
Yes, Jared Collins now pushes Eugenio Pollicci. That will raise Collins' estimation with the local fans. And that's trying to make sure they keep Brandon Hawken in touch, make sure they can move away from Joshua Soto and Michael Coates a little bit if possible. And it's looking like a little bit of a wedge forming between 7th place Donnie Moffat and Mike Oswalt in 8th. Best running open class driver at the moment is Jack Stodola, but he's got Paul Murgatroyd right behind him. So in teal and grey, Stodola, and Murgatroyd in the Loud Cup Racing car behind.
A little bit of a puff of gravel up ahead. It looks like Mitchell Peake might have caught that gravel. So that's going to bring Stodola into it now. Super fast left and right on the, or right and left, sorry, on the way into the double right of Arrabbiata as they climb up the hill. The speed you can carry through these corners is just immense. It's one of my favorite sections of racetrack on any circuit on iRacing. And you led right into the braking zone for this fast S-bend to lead you through to, I think, the closest corner to a hairpin on this lap. Multiple lines possible through this section. For the moment, it seems that Stodola falls back ever so slightly. And, well, I guess the silver lining in all of that is he's got a bit more of a gap back to Murgatroyd, but I think it's all going to compress again when they get to the start-finish straight next.
Michael Coates went wide, exiting the second Arrabbiata and lost 2 positions, I think. Looks like Joshua Soto and Lincoln Fox went past. So you can see Coates here now under a little bit more pressure with Donnie Moffat behind. Oswalt and Odyssey Adams and those have managed to link up just a little bit closer. So your top 4 have a little bit of an extra gap form as 5th place ran wide. You know who can't help himself but to run side by side down the front straight? Kyle Genske picks up another one. He's behind indeed Travis Hewitt, who's 3rd in open class, the leader of that championship. So that's sort of the second group after our leaders here. Then Gap and Travis Hewitt, who's been battling with Genske, with Sean Hayes. Jason Stalker looks like he picks up a position there. So this is what everyone from Spec-5 World Tour wants. Even if they're not battling for the outright lead, they want to be battling for their class. They want to be having just a great battle like these multiple sort of 4-car, 5-car, 6-car packs that we've got.
Indeed. You would have noticed that Pollicci had closed in on Hawken at the end of the start-finish straight. It seems, though, that Hawken is focusing a bit more on the exits of those S-bends in Sector 1, and that's granted him the lead back by a few more tenths of a second. Collins, Soto, and Fox will continue their fight for the last spot on the podium, and this has turned into quite the long train, hasn't it? With positions 1 through to 12, all within a second of each other. Pollicci with not the greatest run through the S-bend there, and that's going to open up an opportunity for Jared Collins, but he's not going to take it right away. He knows that there's an easier opportunity down the start-finish straight. Look at the run into the corner from Joshua Soto there, made up a few car lengths in one go.
Yeah, this group staying close. Brandon Hawken would really like to break this slipstream, but it's not quite happening. Into the final corner we go. You see some different lines here. So this is going to be sort of tucking back to a late apex for Lincoln Fox. And here comes the leaders onto the front straight. Brandon Hawken leading them one way, leading the other. Everyone wants to follow the slipstream. Looks like Peake maybe dropping back there with Stodola right on his tail. Here's pack number 2. Travis Hewitt with Kyle Genske in the slipstream. Jason Stalker. So this is 3rd and 4th in open class between Hewitt and then Stalker behind. But Travis Hewitt's being helped to that 3rd place by Kyle Genske pushing him.
Yeah, this is some solid bump drafting going on at the moment, and Oh, that's a bit wide there for Ginski on the way into first corner, but he will cover off the run from Jason Stalker. Yeah, I think these guys basically have to bump draft at this point. They are falling behind quite a ways from the open class leaders and basically everyone in the top 10. So they're going to have to work together. The gap currently sitting at about 6 seconds or so to Paul Murgatroyd in 12th from where Travis Hewitt is.
Odyssey Adams and Mitchell Peak both get slowdown penalties from 9th and 10th place. You cut that inside of that right-hander descending downhill and you can get a slowdown penalty. So Adams has cut that corner and I reckon Peak directly behind him has just followed him. Still got them. Stadola gaining.
Yep, it would appear that Stadola and Murgatroyd will have another fight on their hands here.
Peak clears his, but Adams has still got it.
Oh, and it looks like he's just going to clear it there on the way into the descending right-hander past the MotoGP and World Superbike long lap, which is motorcycle racing, is where you go if you have been given a penalty and have to give a place back. But looks like a little bit of extra time made up here for Stadola and Murgatroyd. Now he'll have a double slipstream coming down the start-finish stretch. Will these guys start working together to catch back up to the top 8?
And then think we're only a couple of minutes away from getting into the pit window as well in a 45-minute Spec-5 World Tour race. It's normally the middle 15 minutes. So the first 15 minutes too early, the middle 15 minutes Goldilocks, the final 15 minutes too late. And there is a big bump draft from Peak on Odyssey Adams, who just keeps it under control. But this group of 4 have dropped away from the leaders, but they remain ahead of the next group, still led by Travis Hewitt, being pushed by Carl Genski. Jason Stalker, 4th in open class, sits just behind that. And this is a good group. Got a few of our new drivers, Michael Tanagretta and Tim Collier, so new to Spec-5 World Tour, they actually haven't been placed in either class yet. So they're sort of sitting in the hallway, waiting for their name to be called.
Hopefully their name is called soon. Because, yeah, it looks like they're solid competitors in the sort of lower midfield area. Need to keep our eyes peeled on Tim Collier, here sitting in 21st place, looking to make his way past Peter Rousakis, who is down 5 spots from where he started. It hasn't been the best of runs for Peter thus far.
Well, he hit the spun Rui Coimbra on lap 1, and that's where he's got that damage on the front left from as well. So when that pit window comes for him, it's just a tiny bit wide out of the second Arrabbiata. Look for him to maybe tidy that up, and that could help him, give him a bit of a second wind in the back half of the race. Indeed.
30 minutes and 30 seconds on the timer. Just in time for a very good run out of that chicane there for Collier. But we'll turn our attention to the second place battle for the moment. Brandon Hawken now leading by a whole second over Eugenio Pellicci and Jared Collins. And slipstream range on iRacing generally about 1.2 to 1.5 seconds forward is where you're going to get the slipstream. And Brandon Hawken's trying to break it as best he can. Once it's broken and he's got everyone behind him battling, he might try to streak away. But for the moment, Jared Collins is going to try and pull a move here on Eugenio Pellicci. It's defensive for the Italian, but wider entry into the corner may benefit Jared Collins. Pellicci is first to the apex, and Collins, though he carried lots of speed into the corner, unable to get the run on the way out.
Jared Collins was trying to push Eugenio Pellicci, but Eugenio Pellicci was trying to follow the slipstream of Brandon Hawken, so the push wasn't quite working. And I think Collins got a little frustrated with that, because if Pellicci just holds a straight line and Collins pushes him, they're going to catch Brandon Hawken. Whereas weaving around like that, they might catch the slipstream, they might not. And so I think Collins kind of wanted them to take the sure thing, and Eugenio Pellicci wasn't cooperating with it. And yeah, interesting.
Speaking of Brandon Hawken, I don't think we caught it on camera, but coming into turn 4, Hawken had a massive slide. actually threw up some smoke. He's always been a fan of backing the car into the corners. He loves getting that rear end loose and rotating the car on the way in. But it seems like that tendency might be getting the better of him in places here at Mugello.
It's 8/10 clear of second place in that tantalizing distance where he hasn't quite broken the slipstream, but they're not all over him. Pollicci runs a tiny bit wide heading down the hill, but then you remain flat out through this next chicane, and it's worked out okay for him. Fastest lap of the race belongs to Michael Coates in the slipstream. It was actually Lincoln Fox in 5th who was the fastest last lap. That looks like Donnie Moffat getting down the inside there on Coates.
Parks it in front of him on the way out of the corner, and that will be position made for Moffat. 3 places gained. Hard charger in the field, though, is Michael Tanagretta, who is up 10 places to 17th. Very impressive from the 845 as our leaders find their way to turn 1 once more. That's a good slipstream there from Joshua Soto. He's going to get involved with Collins and Pollicci, but Jared's not going to quite let him have it on the way in. We'll have to yield on the exit, though. Up into 3rd place for Joshua Soto.
And just as you call out, Michael Tanagretta goes to pit lane, Lee Martin in as well. We're in the pit window, so if you just want to get out of that pack, which is what they've decided on, you can make your stop a little on the early side right now, and maybe they think there's a tyre undercut to be had. No doubt that new left side tyres will be going on, but that pit lane is secured like a prison. You can't see who's exercising in the yard.
No, you cannot. There we go, just in time for them to pull out of pit lane. It would appear that Lee Martin exits ahead of Michael Tanagretta, and I can confirm it was left side tyres for Lee Martin, and it was no tyres for Michael Tanagretta, actually. He didn't go up on the jacks.
Very interesting. Still took a longer stop than Lee Martin, which suggests he took a little bit more fuel. Those are our only 2 drivers that have pitted within the window that we think are going to get to the end. I think Shabelski's pit stop time, was very early in the race just to get repairs. That's everyone else. It's too early to make it to the end, but they needed to take repairs.
Yeah, not ideal. That'll force them into taking a splash and dash towards the end. They would have gotten some fuel on their way through, but it won't be quite enough to get to the end without having to pit again. Our leaders then, they've seen that the first couple of cars have come in for a stop, but they're looking to extend this stint, and that's generally what you see in this series, in almost any series with a pit stop in a race. The leaders will try and make that first stint last as long as possible because they don't want to be caught in traffic on their way out of the pits. Soto slipstreaming past Pollicci into the first turn, and he is up to 2nd spot. It looks like Soto has gotten some great pace here in the late phase of these tyres. Can he catch up to Brandon Hawken, who's continuing to practically drift that car through these S's?
Had a couple of other drivers pit. So Stodola from, believe it was the lead of open class, and Paul Murgatroyd followed him in. We also had Mitchell Peak, Odyssey Adams, and Tom Athon. So important for open class here. Stodola looks like he's going to beat Murgatroyd off the lane after pretty similar pit stop times.
Yeah, very similar. 18.8 seconds for Stodola, and Paul Murgatroyd 19.5. So a longer stop, but only 0.6 slower throughout the whole pit cycle. So things working out pretty good for Paul Murgatroyd at the moment, despite his lap 1 shenanigans and such. He's found his way into a solid position in open class, and well, now we just need to wait and see where all the people that were around filter back in when they eventually take their stops.
Brandon Hawken leads. Joshua Soto's worked his way up to 2nd place and is now almost leaving Pollicci and Collins behind a little bit. Then you got Donnie Moffat, who we saw pick up a couple of moves. It's ahead of Lincoln Fox, Michael Coates and Mike Oswald, our top 8. Coming to 10 laps completed, 11 laps to go. Pit entry is just a late jink to the right exiting the final corner. But none of this group go for it. They're all going to do what Hawken does.
Well, Hawken is going to weave ever so slightly, but it looks like not everyone taking the bait. Joshua Soto has had an incredible lap there. He's made it up into 3/10 behind our leader, as now Polici seems to be falling off the pace a little bit. That's Collins that's just gotten past him for third. It's going to be difficult here for Polici with his teammate Donnie Moffat behind, though. Should be able to play rear gunner pretty nicely, but I wonder if Polici's thinking about coming in at the end of this lap. It seems like he's not quite able to keep the pace up.
This is as close as anyone's been to Brandon Hawken in about 5 laps. Joshua Soto's kept his powder dry, so to speak. And then just 2 laps moved up into second place. Next lap closed in on Brandon Hawken. He's throwing the car around in the downhill section there, Hawken style.
Using a lot of the curb up at Arrabbiata. Mugello's the kind of circuit where the track limits are basically if you have 2 tyres on the curb, you're good. The pace these guys are carrying, nothing short of immense. And Collins has had a really good middle part of the lap here, starting to put the pressure on Soto as Polici continues to fall further behind.
Yeah, we're past that halfway point per the calculations now, so you'll expect to see a few more drivers pit. We have Liam Park and Mark Cheng in the open class. Tim Collier pitted, but on the exit, I believe, he got a black flag. So that's going to be very costly for Tim Collier, unfortunately. A few of those other drivers that are pitted battling each other. Tom Athon, a super quick stop, has Michael Tanagretta and Lee Martin closing in behind him, I believe.
Yeah, 15.3 seconds stop for Tom Athon, and that's, about 3 seconds at least faster than what anyone else has been able to manage. So we'll see what Athon can do from there, whether or not he'll have to save a bit of fuel to get to the end.
More drivers coming into the pit lane, but not from our lead pack. They've all stayed out, but Stalker, Genski, and Travis Hewitt coming in. These drivers running longer than the open class drivers who were leading, so expect to see Stadola rise back up the standings again. Left side tyres, left side tyres, left side tyres in pit lane there.
Yeah, all the significant corners around this place are right-handers, so left side tyres are the ones that you want to get. Jake DeGrand follows them into the pit lane, and it would appear one of our not a team cars has jumped in as well, Rui Coimbra, who had to compromise himself a little on entry. Genski exited his box ahead of him, and of course there isn't ghosting in the fast lane in pit lane, so he had to tap the brakes a bit. Genski comes out just in time for Tom Athon and company to arrive on the scene.
The blue cone there at pit exit. You got to stay in the pit exit lane until you pass that blue cone. Lee Martin tries to dive around the outside of Travis Hewitt. I think it'll just work out for him. He arrived at so much speed on the front straight, trying to clear those drivers that had made their pit stops and were exiting the lane. We're left with 10 drivers, 11 drivers that haven't pitted yet. All of these drivers here have, and they've come back together. These drivers haven't yet. Brandon Hawken has Joshua Soto and Jared Collins for close company, but Eugenio Polici in fourth hasn't been able to match the pace, just dropping back a tiny little bit towards his teammate Donnie Moffat, who's been coming up the standings. Pit entry on the right. Who goes for it?
They're going in.
Do.
All right, let's see if they nail pit entry here. It's a difficult pit entry at Mugello. I've commentated races here where almost half the field got speeding in pit lane penalties because they couldn't nail that pit entry. It's rather difficult to find your way through there. But Moffat jumps in and immediately up on the jacks on the left-hand side of the car. I would expect the same from Eugenio Polici. And now these teammates will exit the pits together and try to work together to try and make it a double podium for their outfit. They both exit the pit lane at pretty much the exact same time, and they'll exit in 8th and 9th respectively. They have come out in quite a nice little gap here. Gareth Brocklesby is likely going to join them in the short term, but it would appear that Polici with a pit stop about 4 seconds faster than what Donny Moffat could manage.
I think that's just a tiny bit long from Moffat, but the strategy still works from Eugenio Polici to try to get maybe a one-lap undercut on the rest of them and then link up with the slipstream of the leaders again. This is the leaders, Brandon Hawken, 0.8 of a second to Joshua Soto and Jared Collins. You saw that 4th and 5th jumped into the lane last time around. That elevates Michael Coates, Lincoln Fox and Mike Oswald, but creates a little bit of a gap between them and leading 3.
Now, how long are these guys going to wait for the response? Because, well, it's probably going to be about another 3 minutes or so before we consider the pit window effectively closed. So I would expect them in, if not this lap, then the next. Keep an eye on our top 3 to see what they do. Hawken is going to go for pit lane, and no surprise, Soto and Collins are going to follow him in. Are we going to see the same from Coates and company? We are indeed. And Michael Coates and Lincoln Fox, well, they'll come in, but Mike Oswald is going to stay out.
He's done this once or twice before, I think, as well. Mike Oswald goes 1 lap longer than almost everybody else. Drivers find their pit stall. Lincoln Fox, by virtue of qualifying 11th, actually got to his first. There's the track map, and the number 7 is Eugenio Polici. He is coming around Bucina right now, but a long front straight, as everyone else is in pit lane, but 2/3 of the way down the straight. Brandon Hawken gets rolling, 60 kilometers an hour, but Joshua Soto is going to beat him in the lane.
Look at that. Nice stuff from Joshua Soto. That is a pit stop a whole second faster than what Brandon Hawken could manage. Potentially, Soto had been saving a bit of fuel there. Hawken, on the other side of the coin, punching the hole in the air for everybody else, so he would have been using a bit more fuel. Maybe needed to take a bit more in order to clear his stops to the end. Drew Lidkier and Gerard Brady will be the next to find their way into pit lane further down in the order. And things are getting a bit leery here already between Coates and Fox. Pass made, and Eugenio Polici is right on them.
Yeah, pit stops have brought all of these drivers just a little bit closer together again. Eugenio Polici at speed just in behind Fox. Here's Oswald, who hasn't stopped yet. Gareth Brocklesby, Gazzy Boy, the only driver to join him with that.
Racing continuing between our leaders, our effective leaders, I should say, as Michael Coates has gone off there at the exit of Arrabbiata. Well, I said that a couple of people would find the gravel there, and it looks like Michael Coates has shown that. He ran wide between the Arrabbiatas. You see he was trailing the brakes. He already knew he was carrying too much speed, and then Lincoln Fox gets into him. It's only slight contact, but it's enough to send Michael Coates way out into the weeds.
Crazy through the gravel and the car control. Looking like a rally stage there for sure. Mike Oswald pits. Lincoln Fox got a slowdown penalty on the inside of Arrabbiata 2 as he was alongside Michael Coates. So both of them suffered somewhat. Polici up into what will become 4th. Lincoln Fox in 5th. Tony Moffat and Michael Coates have ended up together because of Moffat's long stop and because of Coates' rallying adventures. With Oswald in the pit lane, this is about to become the lead of the race with 15 minutes to go. Soto and Hawken side by side. Michael Coates gets a black flag entering pit lane for a second time as Gareth Brocklesby pits. Things are not going well for Coates.
No, looks like he might have braked a bit late for pit entry. Very easy to do, but it's unfortunate for Coates. He's going to be spending a bit more time in the pits than he would ideally like.
Well, the battle for the lead's been great. So Brandon Hawken got past into the lead of the race again versus Joshua Soto. But as they ran side by side down the front straight, battle towards turn 1, Jared Collins got super close. So this is your top 3. Yeah, in about 0.3 of a second, it feels like. Eugenio Pollicci in 4th, pushing hard, trying to close the gap to get to the slipstream of these drivers. Will have gotten that temperature into his left side tyres that one lap earlier, and he might be able to use that. Will have evened across the temperatures left and right side and gotten to the balance.
This is going to be an incredibly tight fight with 13 minutes to go. Gravel on the circuit there, and the drivers are going to have to keep an eye out for that. Mugello is also one of those circuits that, with the amount of high-speed corners here, you have to worry about marbles towards the end of a race as well. You know, so much force is being put through these tires and flinging off those little beads of rubber. The outside lines, alternate lines through a lot of these corners become a lot more difficult to nail as the race goes on. But this tight fight for the lead is fantastic. Hawken with a big slide once again through the final corner. I mean, it works for pointing the car in the right direction, but he has lost some momentum. Soto is not immediately going to go for the move, though. Bump draft time.
Very interesting. Jared Collins still closes on them. And he pulls to the left-hand side. Very interesting. So it's 1/10 of a second that covers our top 3. They've all completed their pit stops. Collins looking to go around the outside of both of them. Is there any grip out there? Oh, maybe just a little bit. Brandon Hawken's going to hold on to the race lead, I think. No, diving down the inside of turn 2 goes Jared Collins, putting Brandon Hawken in an odd place. Now trying to swap back on the exit. This isn't how Hawken wants to be racing. Jared Collins not quite making the progress he wants. He's going to try it again in the next sequence of corners.
Well, this is slowing up our lead pack, and it's really benefiting Eugenio Pollicci and Lincoln Fox as the cutback happens again for Jared Collins. This time he'll have the inside for the right-hander. Hawken is going to let him have it. He knows that there's still plenty of time left in this race, about 5 laps once they cross the line next. There's more than enough time for him to try and make the move back. But in the short term, it has cost them to Pollicci and Fox, who are now, according to my timing, officially part of the lead pack again.
Yeah, Pollicci and Fox will have just loved that. It's helped them out massively to close in on these leaders once more. They need to capitalize on that now. And Collins almost runs a tiny bit wide there. Hawkins still breathing down his neck. Takes a look to the inside here. This is even more benefit to sort of 3rd, 4th, 5th here. Tiny bit wide out there with a slide from Collins. Hawkins back into the race lead.
And now our top 5 are together. Collins is getting very racy here coming out of the pit stops, but he needs to take care because Joshua Soto is right there to take advantage. It's a wide entry into the final corner for Collins, and Soto almost finds the space to the inside, but not quite. And Eugenio Pollicci is going to latch onto that slipstream. We'll see if Lincoln Fox can do the same.
10 minutes to go. And it couldn't be closer. Closing in the slipstream, Jared Collins pulls out. Now to take it 3 wide. 3 drivers for the race lead, heading down towards turn 1. I think Hawken actually backs out of that one. We've seen you can go around the outside at turn 1 here. Soto slightly in front. Goes in deep. Collins gets a good exit on that tight line. Reminds me of, I think it's Atwood at, what track am I thinking of? Okayama. Turn 1's actually very similar to that, where the tight exit can work well as the track goes uphill. Joshua Soto leads from Collins. Hawken back in 3rd place. Unfamiliar territory for him so far in this race.
Yeah, indeed. It's been rare that we haven't seen Hawken out in the lead with only slight pressure on him. Now he is stuck right in the middle of the Big Mac, so to speak. This 5-car pack for the lead of the race has given us a lot of entertainment in these last couple of laps, but we'll see how it works out for them going forward. The clock is ticking. We are now under 9 minutes to go, and that's both Hawken and Soto who have gone wide out of Arrabbiata, and there goes Collins to the inside and to the lead again.
Yeah, Jared Collins leads. Eugenio Pulici and Lincoln Fox have been patient as all of this has played out. And for open class, Jack Stadola is still leading. Paul Murgatroyd, after a slightly longer stop, has closed that gap up. Those two are together to battle in these final laps for the open class as well. Stadola with a little bit of damage on his left front. Don't see anything for Murgatroyd. And they are 8 seconds ahead of third place in their class, Travis Hewitt.
Yeah, looking good for our open class leaders as our overall race leaders exit the final corner now for the 17th time. Slipstream picked up for Joshua Soto very early. And in the midst of all of this, Pulici and Fox haven't made up the time that I thought they would, as they're going to go 3 wide again. Brandon Hawken yielded at this point on the last lap, but now he's going to go for it. Will Soto fight him here? It looks like Collins is going to be the one to yield, and Pulici finds a way to the inside now. Could he find his way past Jared Collins to get back into third? It's going to be difficult with the outside entry into turn 2.
Why does your tone of voice sound like you're not excited when they go 3 wide down the front straight? I'm watching going, I reckon he's going to do that. Yep. Jared Collins, pulls out to take it 3 wide. Brandon Hawken takes it 3 wide and then successfully goes to the lead of the race. So he made 2 spots. He's back up top. Soto in second, Collins in third. Ginny Pulici thought about diving into this in 4th place. And Lincoln Fox with the pizza livery that he's been running all season. Hopefully the locals find that acceptable.
Yeah, I think that livery's most at home at this particular circuit. Blends nicely with the curbs. Could be camouflage. Yeah, I think my tone of voice would have been a little more exciting if the track was a slight bit narrower there, but it's very wide. There's lots of space to go 3 wide, maybe even 4 wide. I think if they went 4 wide, then my tone would start rising.
So we're thinking 3 more laps to go. Brandon Hawken putting that foot down again, opening up a little bit more space to Joshua Soto. Jared Collins fought for the lead earlier, now sits in third. Final corner for Soto. He's going to exit and just look directly at the rear bumper of Brandon Hawken the whole way down the front straight. That means he's going to be looking to the left, to the right, to the centre, to the right again, or back to the left.
You can make a dance out of that.
It's going to take 5 to tango, so it might be a line dance.
Yes. Looks like a little bit of bump drafting going on at the back of the pack between Pulici and Fox. They know now, with all of that battling ahead of them, they have a fair chance to be getting onto the podium here. But there's going to be a bit more work to do that. Adams and Peak are together for 8th and 9th, and Peak will find his way to the inside of 1. Adams lets him have it in the short term. These guys currently sitting about 5-6 seconds ahead of Stadola and Murgatroyd, our open class top 2, who continue to be latched to each other.
Yeah, they got close at the end of the front straight, but it looks like Murgatroyd is sitting there for the moment.
Fox has gone past Pulici.
Yeah, Pulici pulled aside for him, which was odd.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Pulici might be having some issues on board that car. He has fallen back quite a bit from Lincoln Fox. About a second back now. That's not ideal.
Yeah, neither of us see anything obvious for this. But Pulici is letting the top 4 go at the pace he's currently doing.
Could just be overheating the tires, maybe making a slight mistake. Potentially just wants to preserve the car to get home. Still get a top 5 at one of your home rounds on the schedule. That is a result worth talking about. But Polici did qualify in 2nd. He was on the front row for this. So he will be wanting a result at least as good as that, as we have now 2 laps remaining across the line. Hawken leads by 0.3 of a second. Collins and Fox bump drafting to chase him. And here we go. This is going to be the move. Joshua Soto gets up the inside. Pushed by Jared Collins, but Brandon Hawken is going to hold strong around the outside.
Well, let's see if we're going to go side by side again. I think Soto opts not to, but tries to cross back over and under, get a better exit where possible.
That's a slide. Big one for Soto.
He'll keep that 2nd place, despite Jared Collins' best efforts to try to push him to the lead going into turn 1. Lincoln Fox stays close. Polici seems to have leveled the pace, but did lose about 2 seconds last lap. Don't know exactly what happened to him there. Paul Murgatroyd has a problem. Jack Stodola is now unopposed in the lead of Open Class. Travis Hewitt to 2nd. Lee Martin up into 3rd, and Murgatroyd is dropping quickly. He was battling with Stodola into turn 1.
This is weird. It's like he just jumped on the brakes and came to a stop. Nothing obvious there. Murgatroyd is now rolling again on live pictures, so potentially that might have been maybe a screen failure or some kind of hardware issue for him. Still not ideal for Paul, who now falls to 19th.
It's truly odd. On the penultimate lap, 1 more to come here at Mugello, round 10 of Spec-5 World Tour. Brandon Hawken leads the championship, leads the race, but look at this pack of drivers behind him that have shown they're willing and able to fight him. Joshua Soto and Jared Collins, and Lincoln Fox with the fastest lap of the race in his back pocket. Flag of Italy is red, white and green, and they are about to see the white flag at the start-finish straight. Brandon Hawken with 1 lap to go. Joshua Soto closing, goes alongside. Jared Collins surely looking for a 3rd lane, and he will all the way around the outside. Lincoln Fox follows him there. Joshua Soto slams the door in Jared Collins' face, looking for the race lead. Collins going to lose a little bit of ground around the outside, so now Joshua Soto leads 4 cars on the final lap. Hawken's back to 3rd as Collins jumps through as well.
Oh, great racing. And it looks like Lincoln Fox is right there to take advantage too, as Hawken put a couple of wheels into the gravel. If these guys continue fighting, you never know. Polici might become a part of this again towards the end of the final lap too. But fantastic racing into turn 1. Always good to see 2x2. But they have to make their way through these fast descending corners. I love this downhill section. Feels so good when you nail it, and you really feel the car moving underneath you through this section. Arrabbiata then. Hawken with an aggressive entry, going to draw up to the back of Jared Collins, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to make the move. Potentially, this is going to give Joshua Soto the run that he needs to take victory, but he's gone slightly wide out of Arrabbiata too, and they're all together again.
Yeah, Soto touched the gravel, lost about a car length or so, and it's put Jared Collins right on his bumper again. Brandon Hawken was so close, and where's Lincoln Fox's opportunity going to be? Soto defends the inside for the right-hander here. Collins looks around the outside. They almost bang doors, and Collins can't make any progress, but now he'll be level alongside with Brandon Hawken. Soto can go flat out on any line of his choosing here, and Collins looks to the right-hand side, so it's 1 corner left, and then a drag race to the checkered flag. 3 wide. Hawken dives to the inside. Collins all the way around the outside. Soto on the normal racing line. It doesn't work out for Collins. He's in all of the dirty stuff. Joshua Soto leading, but a long run to the checkered flag. Lincoln Fox could bump one of them and play kingmaker here. The checkered flag awaits, and I think we're going to get a 3 wide finish as well. Rob! Soto wins from Hawken, from Fox, but Hawken crossed that line sideways.
Wow, what a finish. That's fantastic. Ultimately, Only 0.03 of a second in it between Brandon Hawken and Lincoln Fox. Soto takes victory by 0.06 of a second. We're going to receive our open class victor, Jack Stadola, who, well, he probably would have been a bit surprised to see Paul Murgatroyd pull over behind him, but he will duly take the open class win, and by a country mile from Travis Hewitt,
Tom
some
Athon's
5
running
seconds.
out of fuel. Tom Athon's been passed by 3 drivers out of the final corner as he's out of fuel. So there goes Stalker, Tanner Greta, and Hayes to pass him. Paul Murgatroyd won't get there in time.
Yeah, I had a feeling that was going to happen to Tom Athon with the 15-second pit stop and so much on-throttle time at this circuit. But ultimately, he will still get a top 20 finish out of it, which is 7 spots up from where he started.
Rosakis also with a problem on the final lap?
Potentially.
I think I see him dropping.
Yeah, you see, he's dropped from the server, actually. He's unfortunately disappeared from the racetrack. That's not ideal as we receive our last few finishes there. Tim Collier and Gerard Brady are going to round out the top 25, and it appears that Brian Jabelski and Geordie Fike, not too far behind Gerard Brady, won't be able to catch him up in time.
No. So that'll be 27 drivers on the lead lap, 28 if they count Rosakis as towing on the final lap across the checkered flag. And a great race all throughout. 3 wide down the front straight to 3 wide to the checkered flag. Joshua Soto getting that win, breaking a bit of a Brandon Hawkins streak. Lincoln Fox might have thought he could sneak through for a win, having not led any laps all day. But he needed Soto and Hawken to bang doors a little earlier on the straight than that if he was going to beat them. In the end, the margins are 6 and 9 hundredths of a second behind Joshua Soto. Jared Collins taking 4th. Eugenio Polici in 5th. Next week, we go to the track that he selected on the schedule, Monza combined. Donnie Moffat in 6th after a long stop separated him from the pack, but a good result nonetheless. Mike Oswalt in 7th, Odyssey Adams in 8th, and Mitchell Peake behind him in 9th. A near photo finish for those 2 drivers, as well as Jack Stadola took the open class win.
That he did. Beautiful stuff from Jack Stadola. Travis Hewitt is going to come through behind him in 11th spot, with Kyle Genske in 12th. Lee Martin and Jason Stalker 13th and 14th. And Jason Stalker, it turns out, is the reason Peter Rosakis was losing all those positions. There was contact between them at Arrabbiata 2 on the final lap, or on lap 21. To be exact. Michael Tannegretta finishing in 15th spot. He'll be quite happy with how that turned out for him. 12 spots gained. Super run through the field. Sean Hayes in 16th, with Tom Athon and the embattled Paul Murgatroyd rounding out the top 18. Rui Coimbra and Drew Lidkier will be our top 20.
Yep, Jake DeGrand finishing in 21st position. Liam Park in 22nd. Mark Cheng in 23rd. And then Tim Collier, Gerard Brady, Brian Jabelski, Geordie Fike, and Peter Rosakis, the last cars on the lead lap, even though it came undone late for Rosakis. Michael Coates retired a little bit earlier after 15 laps done. Gareth Brocklesby 14 laps completed, so that's still more than halfway, but only 5 laps for Mark Kruger and 3 for Thomas Fisher. Michael Chase didn't start.
Would have been interesting to see what Michael Chase could do. His lap in practice was a 2:08.5, which was roundabout midfield. Could have improved in qualifying, but aside from all of that, it would appear that we have 2 drivers from our pro class waiting for an interview. David, I'll leave it to you to have a chat to our ultimate winner, Joshua Soto.
Yep, he's on the line after winning a 3 wide photo finish. That's the kind of stuff that gets your heart rate going, surely, Josh.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was sweating that race, but yeah, that was a wild race throughout, especially after the pit stop. Yeah, just catching back up to Brandon before the pit stop was a real challenge, but it was a really, really fun race.
We're on leg 1 of a 2-leg Italian tour. I can foresee some 3 wide maybe happening at Monza combined. It's possible. So I've got to ask you, favorite shape of pasta, favorite flavor of gelato?
Well, I'll go with the classic, spaghetti. I don't know what the the name of that pasta, but yeah, the noodles or whatever, and then gelato. I'm not too sure actually.
Yeah, it could have gone, like orange or lemon sorbet or something, but time to think about it before we go to Monza next week. Did basically everyone in that top 5 kind of take the same tire and fuel strategy there? Was it all just about the slipstream today?
I'm not too sure about the tire strategy. I would think that everybody took the lefts, considering the track and how it was laid out. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I took tires this race. I knew that it was going to be a huge factor, definitely in the just being able to hold and maintain pace. So yeah, I mean, it was really down to the pit strategy.
Absolutely. Now you saw, Hawken and Collins fighting each other. Is that when you thought, I've got an opportunity to take this win? Obviously, your pit stop time very much helped you contend as well.
Oh yeah. It seemed, I was studying the race the entire time. It seemed like first place was definitely the place to be, coming out of the right-hander. And so, I made it my mission to make sure that I was in first, and we were able to get that done.
Awesome job. Exciting stuff, and hopefully see you at Monza.
Sure thing. Thank you.
Lovely stuff from Joshua Soto today. We are also joined by Brandon Hawken, who should maintain his championship lead coming out of this round. But tell you what, Brandon, that was quite a tough race. They were swarming all over you today.
Yeah, that was crazy. For the first half, there was trying all I could to break the draft, and it was man, that was tough. I was doing everything I could, and then the second half of the race, Joshua, he moved his way up through, and then Jared as well. He was right there, and we just once we got all packed back together, there was nothing I could do to shake him, and that was a heck of a race there. I was hoping to at least be second there coming to the before the final corner, because I didn't think there'd be enough time on the front straightaway to pass with the draft until up until the start finish line, and I ended up so I had Joshua passed me there, and Jared as well, and I got a little bit boxed in, so I was just thinking I gotta at least get to second here before the last couple of corners, and so I was just trying to plan out my move there, and both of them did a fantastic job staying where they were, and then Jared went for the move there towards the end. I'm like, you know what, let's try 3 wide here. I'm not gonna like bulldoze anybody, but just hopefully at least maybe scare 1 or 2 of them, and Joshua held firm, and I was just coming off the corner there. I was hoping I'd have enough of a run to get him at the line, but no, he did a great job exiting there the final corner, and man, that was a heck of a race. I'm really happy about that finish. That was a lot of fun racing with the 5 of them there, and man, that was a really great battle.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to watch as well. Monza next week. We are staying in Italy, and we're racing the combined layout with the full oval. If we had pack racing here at Mugello, we're certainly going to get it at Monza. What are you expecting?
Oh yeah, I'm expecting pretty much this, but with a much larger line of cars. I think it's going to be absolutely crazy going through the oval, and it's like. Yeah, it'll be the longest straight. Well, not really straightaway, but the longest full throttle time we've had all season. So it'll be absolutely action packed from start to finish, I think. And if we had a close one here, I think might even be even closer next week. It's all going to be about timing that run to the line, I think, and it's gonna be nuts. So looking forward to that, and hopefully have another really great battle with these guys.
Yeah, we're hoping for the same. Great race today, Brandon. We'll be catching you next week.
Thank you. Have a good one, guys.
Brandon Hawken there, the second place finisher in the Pro Class and overall. David, we've been trying to catch up with Jack Stadola, our Open Class winner, but I'll leave it to you whether or not we managed to grab him.
I'm a nothing ventured, nothing gained kind of guy. I heard from Jack Stadola in the pre-race. He might have had to duck away post-race. Jack joins us now, the Open Class winner. Congrats.
Thanks, guys. How's it going?
Well, it's going well for us, but I'm sitting comfortably in my seat with the fan going. I imagine a lot of our drivers are a bit sweatier than me.
Yeah, the start on that was exciting. And then, just a good battle through the middle of it. Took a little bit of damage, was hurting. I don't know what happened to Paul, but man, we were going to have a good last couple laps, and bummer. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, the two of you together for that Open Class lead. You qualified really well, and he had closed you up through the race, and it was looking like it was going to be a good fight.
Yeah, I was looking forward to it. My tires were going away. I think he had me. I really do. He was kind of figuring it out down the front straight, and I think he was going to probably get me on the last lap. But that was a fun battle.
And even when you get a great result like today, championship leader Travis Hewitt finishes one spot behind you. What's it going to take to stop that guy this season?
He's going to have to make mistakes. He's absolutely running away with it. He's doing awesome.
Monza next week. How are you feeling?
I don't know if I want to say it publicly. Monza's not my favorite track, but I'm going to be there. We'll have fun. See how it goes.
You can admit to many things in Italy, not liking Monza, putting pineapple on your pizza and breaking spaghetti in half. You'll still get out alive.
We'll see. Hopefully it's a good race.
We'll see you then, Jack. Thank you.
All right, take care, guys. Thank you.
Open Class winner. Pretty pleased with himself, it seems, but robbed of a battle that could have been. He gets the points, even in a slightly anticlimactic finish for him.
Yeah, indeed. However, he'll certainly take those points on any day of the week. I know I would. And now we turn our attention to the next round. I mean, I did hint at it when I was talking to Brandon. We're going to be seeing an absolute slipstream fest at Monza next week. And if I double check the schedule, it will be Monza combined for the next one. Whether or
not Monza combined, no chicanes, just Monza combined.
Right.
So that breaks.
We'll have
that
some
breaks
braking
things up.
zones.
Yes. So now you only have full throttle from the exit of the Parabolica all the way around the 2-mile oval and then back down the front stretch to break into normal turn 1.
Oh, it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. And it will be here on HJBC at the same time next week. Honestly, after the racing we got here, Brandon Hawken is not impervious. You never know. This next round might allow others to eat a little bit more into his championship lead.
It's one thing to go 3 wide battling for the race win at the halfway, it's another to be 3 wide coming to the checkered flag in Mugello. Joshua Soto takes a great win. Jack Stadola notches a win in the open class. And we roll up the highway, or as I think they call them here, Autostrada, to Monza next week, live on HJBC.